I don't think I've said it yet in any of the videos before, but I am trying to do a budget build on this restoration. I'm trying to see how can you restore a boat that's come from absolute to really nice, but as cheap as you possibly can. And that means reusing bits and pieces, trying to do all the labor yourself as well. Don't pay anybody to do it. So I didn't know how to weld, for example, so I went and bought myself a cheap little welder, taught myself how to weld, and then I welded up the trailer. Parrots can be noisy. So this is the old girl. Let's call her Beth. I haven't actually given her a name until right now. Let's stick with it. So Beth has been around for about 20 years, maybe a bit longer now. And I reckon that Beth had a really good life to start with, but in recent years, she's hit rock bottom. I mean, it's literally rock bottom. We'll get to that soon. Anyway, so we've got a restoration project that I have to kick off. I didn't want to kick off, but I feel like, it's just one of those things that you have to do in life. You pick up something old, you don't just throw it away, you gotta fix her up. And I'm sure I'm gonna make plenty of ups along the way because I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. So stick with me, and this could be either A, fun adventure, or B, complete chaos. And I go back on what I said and Beth ends up in the bin. Stick around, it's gonna be a bit of fun. She's I can guarantee you that. Anyways, let's get into it. Rightio, so it is taking a bit longer than expected to pull all the wiring out, but I'm getting there. And I'm just working up in here, removing this speaker, bit of wiring that goes up into the lights up here. So I'm gonna have to be careful because I don't want to pull these lights completely out, otherwise I'm gonna have to completely rewire it. So they will stay in there with their cabling. And let's get the rest of the wires out. Wiring in here cleaned up. So I'm just trying to leave this intact. There's really no point unwiring it. Less work for me to have to do in the future. Sweet, well you're not going back in the boat. That's like a kilo of weight there I don't have to put back in. Yeah, here you come. Look at this monstrosity. It's got a proper speaker ring. Worst sort of dodge job I can see there. Even I wouldn't do a dodge job that bad. Can chop this wire. It's coming out of here. And I'll chop it up there. Out. Get rid of the transducer. Next thing we've got is a bilge pump, which I think it's basically in the wrong spot. The bilge pump would be better off being in the front because the way this boat sits in the water pools at the front there. Don't know if I'm going to keep this. It's out. A couple of screws in here. This is probably going to be the last of this little box. It's been in there a while. We have got a measuring map. I get a new one. Old and shabby. I reckon we're up to removing some carpet now. Okay, here we go. All right, so it looks like we've got sort of multiple boards down here and one big long board up there. See if we can pull them out of here. And once we get this out, we'll be able to see all the damage that's under there too. Come on. Oh, we've got one out. So it's sitting on wood. So hopefully I'll replace all of this with alloy brackets. One board out, 50 to go. What do we got in here? Oh, has it got any beer in there? Nah. Whole lot of leaves, little plugs, some plastics, fuel line, more plastic, Yeah, right. Let's keep moving. Alright, so we've got the floor out. Voila. It's a pigsty under here. There's some earplugs, plastic bags, and there's that almighty crack right along the edge of the weld. The reason why it's cracked is because this weld is sitting on top of that skid underneath and it's pushing the boat upwards. Time to get the last piece out. This guy. So I've realised I've got nowhere to put the motor, so I'm going to use my existing trolley jack, and I've just got a bit of wood. Just going to put a couple holes in the back here to attach this bit of wood, and then I'll detach the motor, and I'll have to get somebody to give me a hand to lift it off, because I think this old girl is heavy as... You don't need it to be pretty, we just need it to be functional. Sweet, now it's time to get this thing unattached. Probably not going to be able to lift it myself. It's heavy as... Yeah, she's free spinning on the back end. Let me get a spanner. Ta-da! You wouldn't believe it, but the washer that's been put on the back, the bolt's gone in the middle of the washer because the washer's too big. So I'm probably going to have to pop that washer off before I can get the spanner on. I swear, I thought sometimes I did some dodgy shit, but these guys... So I just popped that washer over the bolt. Look how big that washer is, and they've got a 10mm bolt on it. Idiots! I promise I won't do anything this dodgy when I'm doing the build. Just come straight through. Oh, the other side's completely different. We've got like a 12mm with a lock nut and a washer on the back side and the front that's proper. Who votes for shorter bolts? I'm gonna like chop them. I reckon she weighs about 60 kilos, if that. It's not too heavy, but it's more awkward. So what I'll do is I'll wait till I get a hand and I'll lift this bad boy up onto the trolley. And that means the boat will be completely void of anything that needs to get in the way, and I can start the cleanup. Boat motor is off, everyone. Got it sitting up over the back of the shed. Now the shed's actually usable again. So I've got myself a 2-meter pole here. I want to use that 2-meter pole to try to line up the side of this boat. If you look closely, you can see that the boat wall here, it's bent inwards, it's buckled in. I'm not sure how the last person has done that, but they buckled it in. This side, nice and straight. But this side here, it's got a slight buckle to it. Rightio, I've got the pole set up on the side. And what I'm going to try to do is attempt to bend it out. You can see how it's just out. It's just enough to be annoying. And when I go starting doing anything on the inside of the boat here, this part here bent inwards, it's not going to sit flush. The boat has actually been bending out as well. So we're bending both at the moment, which is a good sign. It looks like the boat is flexed out a little bit. And when I back it off, I expect that alloy to come back in a little bit with that bit of flex. It's getting so tight, I'm now starting to put a dent in the side of the pole. You can see that bend. Alright, I've gone closer this time. I'm not going to full kiss it. How do we go? Way straighter than it was. To be honest, I think it might actually be perfect when I look at it, compare it with the other side. I'm really happy with that. One little thing fixed up on the boat. Let's get on to the next. Alright, that'll do it. So we've got the majority of the big stuff out. The rest will just get washed out. tone that down. Ah, bugger it. Let's just go nuts. Yeah, it's heating up. Yeah, look at that. Nothing like a bit of heat. I did bring out the blade in case I needed it. Probably only going to need it for the cleanup. See you later, Brooker. This is going to be a Kev special now. A lot of old dirt under there. See what we can get up with this. First I'm just going to give everything a bit of a wet down, let it seep in. Alright, final push. The first step of fixing the boat is cleaning it. We're going to grab some of this aluminium cleaner. It's called Blitz Aluminium Cleaner, professional formula. Apparently meant to dilute a little bit. We'll give it a burl. I'm not too fast. I'm just going to tip some into this bucket. I have a little bit of water down there, about 1.5 litres. Before we get to that as well, I'll let you know this is why we're doing this project in the first place. It's a lovely crack along here, which is from a stress crack of this bit of the weld sitting on the trailer and bouncing. Maybe I should get some gloves on. It does say that it's toxic. I do have some gloves here. I've also got some steel scouring pads in there as well. These are just some soapy steel scouring pads, so if it is getting a bit tough in some areas, I'll give it a gentle rub with that. Down to about there. Probably need a bit more. Alright, let's give it a boil. Now there are a whole heap of different aluminium cleaners that you can use, which I'm pretty sure everybody knows about. We'll just see what we can come up with. I think it said like 5 to 10 minutes and then rub it off. Not really going to be able to let this not run. It says don't let it run, but this is just going to run anyway. You can see it's already cleaning up the gunk that was on the back of here, this corrosion, which is coming off fairly easy. Don't want to let it dry up. It seems to be working quite well with this pad. Very lightly. So I'm barely touching it. So I think most of the work's happened with the scouring pad that I put on there. It is 100 times cleaner than it was before. I think most of the power is coming from this little scrubbing pads that I have. It is a fair difference in colour. It has all that grime is all gone, and you can see where it was running and streaking down. Yeah, it said don't let it streak, but I wasn't really caring because it's the bottom of the boat. But you can see where it was running down and streaking, these little bits in the middle here. These darker bits, that's actually the boat. So it is cleaning even down here where I haven't been rubbing. That's all clean. Down here hasn't been cleaned yet. Sweet.
Many unbearable hours later.
Next step, just going to give this one a clean up. There we go, another piece recycled, ready to reuse. There we go, perfect little hole. Start with getting these rivets in. So I've just picked up the boat from Golden City Sheet Metal down in Bendigo. So if you ever want your boat repaired, if you've smashed it, come down to these fellas and I'll get it sorted out for you. So what we've done just straight up is we've just put a little bead of weld in there to fix up the hole. If it does crack again, they recommend we'll just chop out the whole section and put a new bit in there. But this will do for now. Now let's get home and let's get that floor sorted out. I can tell you now though, sometimes I feel like maybe I should have just bought a new boat. This is a big project. Alright, I've been using the wire wheel just to get rid of all of the old glue that was on the side walls. You can see some of the wire wheel marks are quite easy to see in the reflections, and that's just because the wire wheel was traveling in a different direction when I did that area. The whole lot has been done. I'm about to grab a bit of steel wool and give it a quick rub down just to get rid of anything that may have been missed. Once that's done, I'll get the wax and grease remover and then we'll start the primer. Preparation takes forever. Just the paint. Just getting the last bit of silicone out of here. Check it out, nice and clean, nice and shiny. There is no more silicone left in the top of that gunnel. I'm spray paint out here, so I'm not going to need any overspray all over my stuff. Well, that's probably not what you do with gates. She's fine. Don't tell the wife. Anyways, this is going to take a while, quite boring, so I'm going to get the mask in, and when I come back, it'll all be masks, and then we'll get to the painting. We're all masked up. Just going to get the good old wax and grease remover, give it a once over, and we'll get into it. I can tell you now though, sometimes I feel like maybe I should have just bought a new boat. This is a big project. It would have been a little bit quicker if I didn't have to fix the trailer first. So that is one thing to remember. So this has taken a long time to get to this point. Like, I'm not sure a lot of people can really appreciate how long. If you can appreciate what I'm doing, hit that like button and help this video spread far and wide on YouTube. Like, I'm gonna hit some wax and grease remover. So just to show the importance of hitting that wax and grease remover, look at that, look how dirty that is. And you didn't want to paint over that. That was white when it started, so I unfolded a bit. That's what it was. So you really want to clean it with wax and grease remover before you paint it, just to get the best paint you can get. If you're only going for a quick paint job, then maybe don't worry about it. It'll probably stick for a while. All right, here we go. I'm using the Deluxe Metal Shield. It's an etch primer. It's also anti-corrosive. Not worrying about the thick coats to start with. If we look right in the middle, that one's not done, that one's half done. So we've got a light coat on there. Last paint of the primer. So I have just ducked down and grabbed another etch primer. This time I've went with the Metal Pro brand instead of the Dulux. I didn't like the way that it was spraying out of the can. It is a little bit chilly, it's about 12 degrees at the moment, but I have got the primer sitting in a bowl of hot water. So it's been in there for about 10 minutes. It's nice and warm. It's going to help lay the paint down when the paint's a lot warmer. I'm out of the primer. That's 3 cans of primer down. The last one was the Metal Pro instead of the Dulux. Sweet, let's cut to some B-roll. I have got myself there some Dulux Gloss Vivid White. First step, wax and grease remover. Just going to be a light hit with this, just to get rid of anything that might be sitting on top. So I've gone ahead and picked up another couple cans of the Dulux Gloss Vivid White colour. I don't like the way these cans spray, but I've already started, so I'm just going to continue with it. Get on the mask so I don't end up choking on this stuff. So you can see the spray on it. It's like this much. There's no fan. It's just a tiny little blotch. All right, I'm done with the painting of the inside of the boat. Just got to let it dry now. And if you're wondering, how much paint did it take? Well, here's your answer. To start with, I started with 2 metal shield etch primers. Now that's the Dulux brand. They didn't really spray out very well, so I didn't get great coverage. So I grabbed a can of Metal Pro Etch Grey Primer. And so then I moved on to the epoxy enamel in the Dulux brand again, in the Gloss Vivid White. I wanted it to be bright and I wanted it to be glossy on the inside of the boat, just the walls. So I started with 2, that wasn't enough clearly, but I knew I was going to have to get more. Then I bought another 2 to finish it up. This one's empty, and this one here's got about a 1/5 left of the can in it. So that's how much it took for me to paint just the inside walls and the back of the boat. I'm shit at B-roll. We'll try a bit more. Can't keep the neighbours' dogs in line, so we're just gonna sit here until that dog shuts up. I could do my segment. Okay, so behind me I've got some black etch primer. I've also got some epoxy enamel in a satin black. I'm gonna try the satin black on the outside, so I don't want it to be too shiny on the outside, but just a nice deep black. And I'll get some white stickers along the outside of it. Guess we're just gonna have to put music over this, because who wants to listen to an annoying dog barking constantly? I'll quickly get this whipped out, and then we'll get to a little bit of sanding to scuff the edge up. So before we put the edge primer down, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over it with the sanding blocks. They are labelled as extra fine. They're nice and squishy. If I was to guess, yeah, maybe around 320, 400 grit sort of thing. So it's quite nice. But the good thing is they're nice and squishy, and you can bend them. You can get them into all the little areas and all the bends that you have on the side. So what we'll do is we'll just scuff this up. It doesn't do a lot, but it does enough that that edge primer is going to be able to stick on there nice and well. While I'm waiting for these primers to warm up, look how good the inside looks. Gloss Vivid White. It's looking real good. Yeah, look at that. It's looking real good. So you can see how it's laying down nice and patchy. Best way to lay your primer, just nice and light the first coat, and then we'll go heavier and heavier as we go. It's another glorious winter day here in my backyard, painting the boat. So it's about 2 days later. Yesterday was a bit bad for painting, a bit drizzly. However, we've got a great day today. So a fresh look at the etch primer that we laid down. It is looking fabulous. It is all ready for the paint to go on. Seems to be really narrow again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch that over. It's the same nozzle that I was using from the etch primer. Just popping that on now. That's better. One can has actually given me 1 coat of the entire outside, well, sides and back, that is. That means I can get another 3 layers down. Let's get into it.
Hey, Kevin.
We're ready. Finally got him around to do some work on the boat. Yeah. To finish up the last coat. Settle down. Let him go. It's like he knows how to use a spray can. So if the top coat's shit, it's because Paul did it.
Will be.
This is a better perspective for everyone to see. There's just no space. It's like you got to eat the paint when you're painting. Paul likes to eat paint anyway.
Yeah. That's how I passed kindergarten. Ate the glue and stuff. They're like, this kid's going places. We'll let him go through.
Look at that. So I opted not to paint this bit because this is the bit that's going to be rubbing in the sand and in the mud and things like that more often than not. So there's no point putting paint on it, that might come off. Look at that little schmick.
Many unbearable hours later.
It's a bit awkward in this position. Might have to go and get a helping hand. Give it one last position in, try. The main thing is because this is so awkward, you can't get it close to your body. We're committed now. There she goes. Commitment. No, it wasn't too bad. Then we've got a few bolts that we need to line up. Just head out of my way. So yeah, we'll get those bolts in there. We'll tighten her up. Give everything a good old tighten down and we're ready to hit the water. Job done. Boat is on there. I might zip tie these together so they don't flop around. Let's do that. That's how you cheat. Yeah, that's huge.
It's 1.45 meters
No, it's not.
in length.
No, it can't be. Oh, you're doing two.
Yes.
You were thinking you're printing me out retro stickers that are 1.5 meters long.
It's for two.
Okay, it's two. Done. Oh. It's like, nah, we're not done yet.
Now done.
Okay, we're done. Can't see it. It's a secret. What is it? It's the rego. Homemade registration stickers. Little dog, little dog, little dogging frame. Where do we put it? There. Oh no, it's already trying to go on. Okay, we're going to try to do this in one go without stuffing it. We're going to have to go from the top down because of these bumps. Are you able to help me?
Yes.
All right. If we get this wrong, it's the wife's fault.
Oh god, it's already sticking there.
From there to the top, what's that? 30 mil. It's close enough.
Is that off a heap?
It's off heaps.
Oh gosh.
Eyeballing it. Yes, 30 mil to the millimeter. Oh, you seeing that? How good that is? Pull it on an angle like this, as flat as possible.
Yeah, like that.
Voila! Yeah, good that is. Got one more to do on the other side. And that's how you make your homemade, not really, well it is homemade, but it's like professionally made using a Cricut. Was it a Cricut 3?
Cricket 3 maker.
Cricket 3 maker, make all the stickers. We're here. Gonna get the boat unhooked, get it into the water. We'll see if we get any more holes. Oh, it's too cold for this. So I'm just gonna get it out so it's floating. I should make put a walkway in here. That'll be pretty good. I think she's floating now. Remember we had some pinholes there and we had some pinholes under there. So there are gonna be two places I look first. The bung's holding, wouldn't be surprised because I painted it. So I'm not seeing any water seepage under there, which is awesome. That's just dry as. That's actually like cement now as well. So this is dried like cement. That's that C11 stuff. It will set underwater, works well. Like you paste it on, I can't even scratch it. Like it's like hard as. So we had a pinhole here, one here, and that's where the new weld went in. So that's actually holding up really well. I'm not seeing any signs of water. We'll check up front. I doubt there's anything up here. Absolutely dry. How good is this? We're in the boat again and we're not sinking. Well, we weren't going to sink anyway. How good is this? We're in the boat and she's got no pinholes. Fellas up over there at the boat ramp are probably thinking, what the f is this guy doing? Let's get the fuel hose hooked up on this and we'll start this up. See how it goes. Let's get some fuel going down here. Here we go. You can hear it. She hasn't started for a long time, so 3 months, no start. Now I like to do a couple pulls before I pull the choke out, just to get things moving. Now we give it a good pull with the choke out. Not too bad, second pull. I'll leave the choke out just for a second. I'll pop her in. Oil's good. Still got oil level, which is good. We've still got a real strong, look at that. Like, that'll poke someone's eye out, that stream. That stream is so freaking strong. Woohoo! All right. One last rev for love. The other thing I really want to remind everybody is this channel generally just a fishing channel. So the boat build is a side project. It's not going to be around forever and I'm not going to continue to do these things. So if you're here, check out the fishing videos. If you like them, maybe you'll stick around for some more. On the ground over here, I've got myself 39 meters of aluminium angle and we've got a couple of bigger bits. You can see right here, which I plan on doing some sneaky things with. See if we can get that all sorted. Today's going to be a bit of an adventure. Springtime's right around the corner and I really just want to get the boat ready so I can get back out onto the water, have some fun. About there to about there. I reckon 126, 1,260 mil. See how we go. One cut. Now I'm probably gonna have to cut a bit on the angle on the side here because as it gets up on the side of the boat, you'll see here. See, she's not gonna go straight. See that? So I want the edges to sit flat on here. So basically what you wanna do is you wanna measure from the corner and where's 40 mil, then mark a dot, because then from that dot is where you're gonna have to cut up on an angle. See, 40's still up a bit. We have to come down further and further and further and further and further, and it's about there. So you know that you're gonna have to get it down to about there. Looks about right.
Like tornado warnings.
Are they?
Yeah.
For Bendigo?
Yeah. The radar said it was worse than Bendigo, but it's all passing.
Yeah, we might have to bring the chop back inside and call it a day. Because you can't do this work with storms. All right, now I know it's getting dark, but I'm just gonna get this last one done. Test pieces on top. Basically, I need to just make sure it's gonna line up. Get that test piece to be nice and flush up the top there. So that's basically where that needs to go, right there. Well, I've got to wrap it up for today. It's just getting way too stormy out here. I don't have light, so the only problem is it's just getting too dark. Otherwise, I'd keep going. You can see we're getting some nice rain. They reckon there might be a tornado coming through, which would be pretty crazy if it did, because that never happens in this area. But what I have done is I've put in the first brace. Now, that's the first one in. We can see that she's sturdy. Oh, we've got some blue clouds going on. Put over there. We've got a good thunderstorm coming. Oh. Trying to protect the car. I don't want to smash windows. So you can see behind me, I've done a little bit extra work. I've put in an extra brace along there, and then in here I've put in the 2 first long braces there, which is the center storage locker that I'm going to do. The wife's coming out to help me. Not really. She's clamp that one up. Get a couple drills in. Let's go. This one's going to be a bit tricky on this side. I have to be as close up as I possibly can. You gotta make sure you don't drill through your boat. So you can't go chaotic. It does take a fair bit of time. Every single cut is kind of custom cut. So you got to measure every bit. You've got to cut it on these areas here. You look down in here, you've got to trim it on these angles. We've got multiple rivets on the walls, up the tops. We've got different legs and support beams in here just to keep everything upright. So yeah, it does take a little bit of time to get this done. So if you ever think about doing this yourself, I'd probably say if you're soloing it, and if it's the first time you're doing it, like me, you're definitely not going to get it done in a day. All right, so what we've got here is the 2 batteries, and I need to get them to fit in here nicely. We can get them to fit in sideways, like that. So they've got enough room that way to move. They just don't have enough room to just fit down in the front. And I'm talking the tiniest little bit. So what I might do is we'll square this out a bit better. So this line, that's not very square. This bit here sort of dips out, and along here is the same. It's not very square. So I'll square them out. I'll mark some lines, and then we'll get the angle grinder in here, and we'll just do some nice trimming. So that worked out really, really well. Don't tell the wife, but I'm gonna go and get a big kitchen knife, one that's big enough, and I'm just gonna slice it out. She doesn't really watch these videos that much, so she won't know. Ka-ching. Like I said, secrets. Hold up. Something is blocking the vacuum cleaner. Oh wow. I was wondering why the vacuum cleaner wasn't working. It's because it's actually clogged up with all these rivets. But the note to self, don't suck up the big rivet bits. Moment of truth. Ka-chow. Look at that. That's going to be real good. So I was looking at Bunnings' website, and they had these drill attachments for your rivets, and the king chrome ones were $110. And I thought, I'm not spending $110 on an attachment that I'm going to use for just the boat. So I jumped on the eBay and had a look, and I found this one. Without a lie, it is exactly the same shape and color, even the same divots and everything as the king chrome one. So I reckon they've just knocked off the whole design, and it works really well. Oh yeah, it only cost me 15 bucks. All right, so I'm just finishing up here, putting the last couple of rivets. So I've put in some braces, which is going to help with that batter tray coming down the bottom. So we'll get that all in there now, and then we'll do the other side, which we basically have to replicate the same thing, I think. And then we'll be able to put in the battery floor, and those batteries will go in and out nice and perfect. So a little bit of progress now. So a sneak peek of what's happening here. So we've got the angle alloy cut. We're going to join these two middle ones together, and we're going to use these, and we're going to thread them all the way down in there, sitting on these rails that you can see that I've attached in here. We've got one rail on each side. Everything's nice and sturdy. Once that's together, the batteries will lower in and they won't be able to slide around. If you're loving the video, go and check out some of the other content that we have. It's mainly a fishing channel, so once this boat build is done, there probably won't be another boat build. That is, unless in years to come I get another boat and decide to do this. But yeah, definitely go and check out the fishing videos. You'll see myself and Paul and some other mates getting out there, having some fun and targeting Australian natives. I'm going to get back into this, and less talking, more working. Check it out. So the tray is all in. It did take a little while, I must say. Thumbs up to me. Give me a like on this video. I'm going to keep at this. The next step is I've got to figure out what I'm going to do here to stop this from flaking off. And we've got some sharp edges here, so I might end up putting some alloy angle on the corners here, and I'll see if I've got some thin board that I might be able to just have slip down in the side there. Boom. Well, there we have it. We've got the ultimate battery box, which is fitting both of those batteries absolutely perfect, nice and snug. We've got the majority of the main floor all put in, and we've got enough space for a little tiny little bunker in there, just a little lid, so we can put the oars in underneath the floor. We've also done a lot of work on making sure that when we do put the deck out, we've got the braces in the right spot for the esky hole. So basically, deck all the way across, and the lid's going to be there to get to the esky. You don't have to have an esky in there. Could be a cooler bag, could be your tackle bags, could be anything, but it's big enough to put in a small esky. I'm going to get the first measurement done, and I just did a quick measurement. 47 centimeters or 470 millimeters. Let's get that done now. Here we go, nice and quick. So the first measurement is done. I'll get that slapped in now. Smooth positions. Yeah, it's pretty easy to get it square. It's pretty much square already. Looks like a good spot. That's gone the wrong way. If you want to keep your eyes, you should wear these things. Chicka chow. So I've gone ahead to do this straight one here. This one's a straightforward one. Put the first drill bit in there, first rivet in. And the way I've done it is we've just measured across flat. So making sure it's all level, right across. Again, not level, but flat. And I've got this little bit here on top just because at the end of the day, there's going to be a full piece running along the cross like this. So I need to make sure I account for the 1.6 mil, which is that. Woohoo! Last one for the front top here. All right, now I've got to do this one in here. Boom. Sneak peek at what I'm doing in there. They are a little bit of a weird angle because of the drill, but when they tighten up the rivets, they'll be fine. So we've got some good structural strength here, 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 then here, here, here. And then there's going to be another beam coming across here as well, which is going to be joined into here and here. So you can imagine this whole thing, it's going to be pretty sturdy. And already, wallowing this is wallowing the whole boat. 1.6 mil, it is the ideal for strength and lightweight. I know a lot of people use 3 mil, but I guarantee you they're over engineering it. You don't need to use it. And the last one, there it is. So that's the 2 outer bracings done for the big boxing area for the esky, whatever else you want to put in there. So it is a nice big storage area, and the great thing about this area is it's using all the space all the way to the floor. So we've got a nice gap there, and we've got a nice gap on the other side as well. All right, so I'm just going to get the rivets in here. Just going to do 4 in each connector. So all up, 16 rivets done, and I'm not going to show you me doing it. See you in the next clip. You're in it now.
Bye. Going back to the kitchen.
Okay.
People don't like that.
I'll have the woke police on my YouTube channel in no time. Alright, so I have done the last beam, which I said I wasn't going to do tonight, but I did just do it because it was nice and quick one to do, and it kind of makes me happy and satisfied that this is all cubed off. One thing I did notice is once I put in this beam here, because it points this direction, I didn't leave myself too much of a gap. I'm going to nick a little bit out of this back beam here. I'm really happy with it. If you're happy with it, send me a comment and tell me when you're going to do your tinny. So I did a thing right here, see? Finish up the corners on each side, so it's even done over on that side. But the idea is this, is it's a basically like a tackle tray sort of storage, or anything else you want. This is not really tackle, just random bits and bobs, but you get the idea. Your tackle trays and things will go in here. Glasses is, I don't have hand protection on at the moment. It's a bit hot. Should be alright. I'll freehand it. Hopefully it won't be too bad. Yeah, that's gonna be perfect. It's gonna be perfect. Now that that is actually done, let's get on to the front. I've said it again. I've just noticed there's one other thing that I need to do. I should probably do that now. We're never gonna get onto the front. In everything that I'm doing, I'm just using the angle iron 1.6 mil because it is strong enough. But right here in the middle of this here, there's going to be a lot of foot action, foot traffic right there. I've got this bit of alloy here. It is really strong. Why not cut it the length and sit it right in underneath? Sweet. All right. Sturdy, sturdy as. I'm back. It's another day, and I'm cutting the very first cut for the front of the casting deck. There we go, so we've got that nice and level now. I've got 3 rivets in, 1 on each end and 1 in the center. All I'm going to do now is, I won't do it on film because it's a little bit awkward, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drill probably another 15 rivet holes all the way along, and some will be up high and some will be a little bit down low, so it's sort of a zigzag along. And the reason why I want so many rivets there is because this piece here is going to be bearing a lot of weight. All right, so I know I said I'll get back when I just put in that brace at the back, but I've actually jumped ahead and I've chopped a few of the long ones, and I have put in these 2. Took a little bit of fiddling to get the right angle and to sort of sit here and just think about how do I want the front of this hatch to really be. What I'm going to go with is one massive hatch, which starts here on this side and goes to the same on the other. But in the middle, I'm going to have a T-piece, so just like this, sitting up underneath here. Nice and sturdy. So that's the whole casting deck done now. Everything about it is done. What I'm going to try to do is a side bench along the side of the boat. It's a 50 by 100 mil angle. See the angle on that here. Just marking out some sections here which hopefully will align perfectly with this here. Let's get on to the next phase. I'll start chopping this up, see how we go. I'll give you updates as we go. So I've decided to try to hand cut this. Just wanted to make sure I did it nice and slow, because this bit of metal here was quite expensive actually. Funny enough, this one bit, it was over $100. And then all the rest of the angle iron that I got, which was like 39 meters of it, that only cost me like $250. I'm sure everyone knows how to chop some stuff up, but I just thought I'd let you know how I'm doing it, taking my time with it to make sure I don't ruin it. You're called the shed parrot. That's what you are. So I'm getting close to finishing up the side shelf that I was going to put in there. It's on a nice angle down to create the V. Allow everything just to sit in that little bit there. So you can hang your hooks on your lures on there, put in your pliers, fish grips, whatever else you might want to chuck in there. So the rod holder locker, not really a locker, but the rods will go underneath the shelf. The top two butts on the rod holder there is for your longer swimbait rods, which will come all the way up along the top of the casting deck, but then down the bottom you can fit 6'8" Alright, so I just want to show off the side shelf here that I've made a little bit more. I didn't have to do much to put it in, so basically it was just a 50 by 100 3mm alloy angle here. It is quite sturdy itself, so it doesn't really bend easily. The way I've attached it on here is I've attached it one through the top of the gunnel. We've got some sort of spaced out. Then we've also attached it with additional alloy angle bracing, you can see here, just on each end. And we've also got some stuff going on in the middle here. So underneath, I've got some L brackets in there to help with the stability. And then again, just up here, just onto the side of the boat there. So it's another day and I've ran into a little bit of a problem that I've already started fixing. So I thought I'd give you a little bit of an update of what's happening and what I've had to fix. I started laying some test boards across the top, and I realized that there were some items in here that were a little bit too high, and the height between some of the alloy metal, which you can see here now pop up in the corner, what it used to look like. But when I first put it in, the alloyed angle here went over the top of the seat here, which raised that up a little bit. And then we had this little bit here, and then this bit here, and it sort of creates like a staggered down step. When you put a board on here flat, it actually makes the corner of the board right here, you can have like a little bit of a fold, and it is actually noticeable. The other problem I've found is that this main back bit of metal here, this one here that's welded into the boat, it's actually on an angle backwards, which causes this angled bracket that I put in to sit lower at the front than it is at the back. It's not that interesting, but I just wanted to bring it out because it is just like a setback. And when you're doing these types of projects, and if you don't do it all the time, these are the type of things that you might not think about straight away, and it is a setback. So I've got to pull all that out and readjust. I've got to figure out a way how to do that. So that's where I'm up to, and I'm going to get this all pulled out and realigned properly, and then I'll put it back in again. Shouldn't take me too long. I'll get it done now. And we're done. I've unscrewed the back end and I've put it back in again. So what I've done is I've put in some marine ply up under there, but it's only just about halfway up, and it makes this get nice and flat. Because I'm gonna have a hatch here, and the hatch has to go halfway onto this side of the alloy, and then half onto this alloy, and share the other half with the board that's gonna sit over there. What I want to ensure is that the board that sits up on this side, which is going to be on this half, it just makes sure there's no little bit of bounce there. So I'm just going to put in a little leg. It's going to be right up in the middle there, just to make sure there's no bounce in that. I don't think there will be. I have tested it with the scrap bits of board I've got around, and it doesn't seem to make any difference, but I don't want to have to get to the point where everything's in and then I realize, oh, there is a little bit of bounce. So I'm going to pop these in here. It's looking a treat. It's looking real good. Really, really good if you ask me. So good that once you put in the floor in, it's just going to cover up all this awesome work. Makes you a little bit sad that that's going to happen actually. It's been a long road. I've put in some more little legs down the corners here, and you can see I've just done little posts with a bit of carpet on the bottom. The reason why I did that is because I wasn't sure if I wanted to run a full length across there and then brace up. I'm trying to think about how I'm going to put in the floatation stuff underneath, so the least I have there, the better. It's really a rinse and repeat exercise, this, I'll be honest. There's not really a lot that you need to worry about. It's, if you've already got your levels set out right, a lot of it from then on is just rinse and repeat. My 600 packet of rivets, I'm almost out. I have to quickly run down to the shop and get some more. So I won't be going too far, we've only got this many rivets. One cut at a time. I went to Bunnings today. Go. Another 600 rivets. Hopefully I won't have to use all of them, eh? BCF. Yeah, I went to BCF too. Got a whole lot of stuff in there. Forgot my fuel hose, which I was meant to buy, but instead I bought all of these lures. Some good stuff in here too. These armor joint ones, see, they're called the Flash Boost. And what it is, can you see in there? It's like a shiny sort of wavy thing. So as this is swimming through, you get like these shines. It's like a flash, and they sit inside of them. It's a pretty cool concept. So awkward in here. Do. Sweet, got that side in. Oh, just look at it. It's a work of art, that's what it is. You know what's up next? I'm gonna be putting in the flooring and getting those hatches sorted out, and then we'll move on to the rest of the boat. So today I really want to get a whole lot of this electrical work done. So we've got some old stuff and some new stuff that we've got to get into the boat. So let's go over some of the old stuff. So I have an old bilge pump. This one still works really, really well. And we've got a new bilge pump. So we'll have one for the front and one for the back of the boat. We've also got a bilge pump kit just for the piping. I've got a whole lot of LED lights. We have a battery monitor kit, and you can see there, that is the King's 500 amp battery monitor. It's got a shunt kit. I'll show you that soon when we pull it out. We've got a whole lot of old wires, which most of them we won't need to use, but there will be some stuff in there we can reuse to help run some of these lights. And here we've also got the old box, which I'm going to steal the switch plate off it, so it still works really, really well. There's no point getting rid of that. So the plan today is to get all of the electrical stuff in the places where they need to be and run all the electrical wiring back to a central location, which is going to be right down below here. That's where my side console is going to be. So I need all the wires to run to here. Yeah, right. Where to start? Where to start? How about I start with the old bilge pump. And here it goes. Down into oblivion. Never coming back. Found it. Let's just check in. Let's just see. Will a rivet be enough? I don't reckon it will on the inside. But what you can do is if you've got a washer that fits just over there, you could compress it with a washer. I've got this little washer and the rivet is just big enough to go through there. Let's just give that a little bit of a whirl. Okay, now let's see if we can pull this rivet and see if it doesn't pop through. If it breaks, let me know. I'm talking about the plastic. Oh, it's out of here. There we go. It's actually worked quite well. So there we have it. We've got a little homemade little bracket, just a little thing, scrap metal, free. Let's go put it in the back of the boat. All right, it's a little bit dark, but just bear with me. It's a little bit echoey. You're in the bottom corner of the boat. A little bit of luck. Oh, look at that. I don't even have to re-angle it. We've already got it on a perfect angle. Squeeze. Give you a nice close up in there. Just some scrap alloy. See, we don't have much space at the top here, but it's just going to clip down now. It's in. Probably don't even need that sheath. I'll leave it on there. Well, hang on. What have we got going on there? What's this? We've got a little bit of a problem here. So these probably won't be kept waterproof. Looks like they've tried to do a job of waterproofing them. Let's peel this off and see what it looks like underneath. That's a bugger. Pain in my ass. So anyways, let's fix up the mess from the last person. Let's do those cables a bit better. I'll get the soldering iron now and we'll get that sorted out. Battery, portable soldering iron. All right, we've cleaned up the end of the soldering iron there. That'll help greatly with the heat transfer. Okie doke. Now that is way more waterproof and much better to work with than something like this. Let's finish off running the wire. I'm gonna go under this bracket here. Under here. So now we're there. We don't want to run up over here. We don't want to run in here either. We want it to come up to about here. So we're going to run underneath, straight under. Nothing needs to be tight. Just loose is fine. And this is now done. Oh, the thread on this is forever. I don't really like this either. I've just realized. Don't like it at all. Because it sticks out too far. And like, why is it even there? You got a bilge pump down the back. Why didn't you just peg it there and it would spray over the back of the boat? Could have just done this. Boop, off the back of your boat. But you drew a hole in the side over here. Why? Like, if you've got this much water in your boat, you're done for. Get out of it. Bail. Get out. I'm gonna get rid of another one of the pre-owner's failures, and we're gonna have the bilge pump pumping out the back. So I've got my brand new bilge pump kit here. And what I'll do is I'm going to get that installed just right underneath the seat there. There's a little bit of a wonky thing there. I bashed it with a hammer. Don't worry about that wonkiness. The bilge pump is going to go there under the seat. I should probably just chop that off. It's got no purpose that being there. I'm going to chop that out. That doesn't need to be there. It looks ugly too. So we're going to follow the same principles. We're going to use the bottom filter. We're going to attach it to a bracket. And we're going to use another bracket to attach it to the bottom of the boat. So we're going to get it right there. Tell you what, it takes ages to do this type of stuff, but it's pretty fun. But the weather is great. I'd rather be out on the water with this beast. That's in there. That's real good. She ain't going nowhere. The pump's going to slip just over the top. And this is the hose here. It's going to be a lot like... and right up. That's not really working, is it? Oh no, the hose is not big enough. Let's try to MacGyver this a little bit. Close to the knuckles. There we have it, voila. It is a little bit of a reduction, but I don't think it's going to have too much of an impact on the pump and the pump's performance. We will know if we start blowing a fuse if we're using this pump. I'm going to grab a length of wire out of the spare wire that we've got in there, and we'll run an amount that comes sort of up here and then straight along underneath the floor, which is going to come out to about here. Again, I'll do that off camera. We'll be back in a bit. And we're done. And it's connected to a really big long piece of wire. Check that out. That wire was free, courtesy of the previous owner. Don't know what they were using it for. So let's get that hose connected to the bilge pump underneath there, and then we're going to route it underneath the seat up to the corner, and we'll cut out a hole right up in there. This is for boring out wood, but because we've got some thin alloy, it might work. And it's actually the right size. It's a bit blunt though. I might try to clean up these edges, make this a little bit sharper, and see whether or not I can use this. I'm going to drill a small hole out there. You can see how easy that went through. It's because they're aluminium boat. Not the tool for the job. Don't copy me. We're just going to start off slow. It come undone, but look. Perfection. Except for that fell out. I don't know why. It must not add up tight enough. So this should fit through there nicely. Look at that. That's such a good job. I used the wrong tool, but still got a perfect circle. It's alloy. Check this out. These guys used I don't know what. So we want this to go up and tuck along here. Ideally, another cable tie there is probably enough. So when you're pumping water, it's just a good idea to have your pipes secure, because you don't want them to pop off or start flopping around. Yeah, I know it's a little bit dark, but you'll live. Cable tie's going under there, and that's going to help us with getting this pipe in the right spot. So it sits there nicely and doesn't move. Again, doesn't need to be tight. That's it. We're done. Chop this off here. These scissors aren't actually sharp. These are paper scissors, but they're gonna work. We're gonna get through it. We're gonna get through it. There we go. And we want the clamp in a way that we can do it up nice and tight. Push that on. Again, eBay pipe kits, hey? We've got it on the end and that was it. I'm really gonna have to force this on there. Here we go. On. Anything in the last one was to go by. This is gonna be a pain in the butt. Tell me how I'm going, I can't actually see. Is it in the right spot? Let me double check. It is in the right spot. Goody. Getting up close and personal on the camera right now. I'm always eating it. Oh, look at this, will ya? Got some holes I've got to plug up with some silicone. Dodgy bastards. More holes. More holes. More holes. Holes everywhere. This is... Look, I've plugged up some of these holes here with some rivets. There's holes absolutely everywhere. It's like they've had everything on this at one stage. Who knows? I'm going to get these sorted out, put them back on the front. So it's going to be nice and good. We'll keep moving.
Many unbearable hours later.
Alright, it's getting a little bit late. Time to get some food. It's taken me a little bit longer than I care to admit to get that front end sorted out. But I have got the lights back on in the places where they need to be. These side lights are now pointing downwards instead of straight forward up into the eyes of other boating fishermen. And I've stuck a little spacer underneath. I have put some silicone around there. We've got the trolling motor mount back on as well. And this time I went and found myself a longer bolt because when I was previously running it and testing it out, I was only running 3 bolts. There's a beam that runs straight through here. So because this bolt here needed a bit longer to get through that beam. All good, all sorted, that's on there, nice and sturdy. Front end's looking pretty good. Got a few little holes here that I need to fix up now. Still contemplating whether or not I silicone them or if I get some big rivets and fill them up nice and tight. I'll catch you in a second, but for me it's probably going to be tomorrow afternoon or something, and we're getting the rest of the electronics. So we've got the King's battery monitor that still needs to go in, and these little lights that still need to go in. Not really a lot left to do. These lights are going to be a bit of a pain because I'm going to have to solder and run the wires for everything. That King's thing there is literally just pull the wire out and just run it. Haven't really come that far today, but I've got progress made on the boat. It's what we want. We want progress. I'm back. It was only for a second, I told ya. I've just actually finished doing a quick instructional video on how to set up a battery shunt monitoring system. So go check it out up in the top corner there after this video if you want. Let's get this battery shunt and mess of wires in here so we can use it. So this mess of wires down there, that's for the battery shunt and monitoring system and the inline fuse. And this wire comes from the trolling motor. What I need to do is I want to mount this somewhere in the boat just by using a screw and somewhere where I can plug this in. And I've got a really good spot just in here in the corner there. It'd be such a perfect spot. So when you're running the trolling motor, you just lean down here and you clip it in. There we are. Okie doke. Well, the shunt is in. All the cables are cable tied up. And we've got everything all in there nice. That's looking really, really good. All of these cables, they run up underneath the seat and then they come up to this. So starting at the batteries, they are in series. So you've got a connector between the positive on one and the negative on the other battery. And then we use the positive and negative for the power source for the things that we have. So two 12-volt batteries, and we've got a 24-volt system for the trolling motor. So from the batteries to the shunt, to the connector, all the way up to the trolling motor, which it is plugged in actually. We should be able to use the, should be able to go left and right at least. Oh, look at that. She's still working. Can't wait to get back out on the water. All right, well, let's get the transducer on the back of the boat. Next step. It's around here somewhere. I think I've lost it. Oh wait, there it is, down there, hiding. There we have it, I did it. All right, so the transducer is on. This is the triple shot transducer from Lowrance brand. Originally, from the previous owner, it had a smaller, just a dual shot down scan, didn't have side scan. So I'm swapping it over with the transducer that I had on my kayak, believe it or not. So I had this on my kayak, but I didn't really use the side scan that much in the kayak. I've gone and drilled a hole straight through there. So the previous owner had these plates here for running cables up the back, and they sort of stick out a little bit. It's a bit hard to tell because everything's black, I know. So look, I've got the cable and I'm gonna stick that through the hole now, and we'll get that routed properly. So what I wanted is, I didn't want to have this cable go up and over the top here like they previously did. I just want to keep everything off the top, and here it comes, nice and easy. There we are. So that's going to hold that cable nice. It's not going to be able to flop around and get in the way. So I've got my little bung. Doop, doop. I'm going to try to squeeze that in there. We'll see if we can do it without having to cut the corners any rounder. I really just want to push it in, make it pressurized in there. There we have it. That's in there. Touch up time. This is the same paint that was used to do the outside of the boat, so it will blend in nicely. There you go, you can't even see it on camera. That's how black it is. Really good. So we've got the transducer in, we've got a plate to hold it all in, we've got a bung, a new hole drilled in the boat, yes, another hole in the boat, and we've got the transducer cable just going down there. Then it joins into the same conduit that is being used for the bilge pump at the back. Runs all the way up along there, and it's ready to be wired in. Up next, we're going to start considering where we're going to put all those little blue lights. Here they are here. So the last thing I've got to do is figure out where I'm going to put all these LED lights. Plan is put them somewhere downwards or in cavities so they're never pointing at your face.
You guys want to see something cool?
How's that? Well, I'm pretty excited about that. What I've done is I've got in the LED lights all through. There's some that you can't see. I've got some nice lights to illuminate inside the cubby holes and also in there if you lift it up where you can have a big compartment. We've got lights to show up around the casting deck, and we've also got a couple lights to show where your rods are and your rod holders. And the last couple lights, which I haven't actually put them in their positions, are these two here. When I do the side little console here, those two lights will be incorporated into that. Today I'm going to be attempting to do some flooring and some hatch building. It's not something I've done a lot of before or any at all, so let's see how we go. If I can do it, you can do it. So I'm gonna grab some cardboard and we'll see if we can do some CAD. It's what I like to call cardboard assisted design. All right, so I'm gonna start with a just a rough estimate of this. So what do we got here? So let's start with 137.5. And how high do we want it? 20.5 there, 20.5 there. And I hope that it's 20.5 over there too. If it's not 20.5 over here, it means I've done something really, really wrong. Yeah, 20.5. We'll start it here. And we wanted to go up 21. Not a big step. It's smaller when you're out of the boat. Doesn't need to be crazy precise at the moment. We're just getting it ready to be cut. Now I know that the top's going to taper down. You can see it sort of goes down and tapers down about halfway. So ideally you could sort of look that it's going to taper down right about here and then come down like that, isn't it? That's looking all right. Final fit. Perfect. It's good to know that these don't have to be 100% perfect, because when you wrap it with carpet, it's going to help out. Now I keep saying carpet, and some people might be like, oh, you should have taken the opportunity to do the EVA foam. I actually scrutinized over the EVA foam, and I thought about it for a long, long time. And I was thinking about it last night, and I've been doing a lot of research into it. And quite honestly, for the use of this boat, because this boat's going to be a river basher, so it's probably going to get a lot of mud in it and stuff like that. Carpet is going to be easier to maintain, and it's going to be more durable in the long term. She's really good. So now I've got that all cut up. The next thing is you need to cover it to make sure that it's waterproof. You can do it a few different ways. Most people, if they're doing a really good job, they'll use some resin, so epoxy resin or fiberglass resin. That will work really well. You can pop it on there. You don't have to worry about sanding it after you're done. If you're using carpet, if you're going to put on your EVA foam, you will need to sand it if it's got any bubbles in it to make it silky smooth. But in my case, I'm going with carpet. The other thing you can do is, if you want, you can use some paint. You might have some old house paint. Your friends might have some old house paint. Just use whatever you've got to make it waterproof. Paint will work, so don't think that you have to go using epoxy resin. Even though the epoxy is better, paint will still work just fine. I'm not too stressed. I'm going to go with the paint. If I run out of paint, then I will be getting down and getting some epoxy resin to do the rest of the stuff, because I think that is the best stuff to use. I don't think I've said it yet, but I am trying to do a budget build on this restoration. I'm trying to see how can you restore a boat that's come from absolute shit to really nice, but as cheap as you possibly can. And that means reusing bits and pieces, trying to do all the labor yourself as well. Don't pay anybody to do it. So I didn't know how to weld, for example. So I went and bought myself a cheap little welder, taught myself how to weld, and then I welded up the trailer. Parrots can be noisy. So let's go grab some of that paint that I was talking about, and let's get this one sorted out. There we go. We've got all the boards cut for the front areas, like the pockety areas, so none of this is going to be load bearing, it's all just walls and faces. But that's the one that you watched me cut out from the beginning. So lots of little tiny little bits for the hidey holes, inside where the esky will go. Lots of bits. Let's get them all painted. I was going to use some paint, so what I'm using here is, it's actually paving paint, so it's heavy duty paving paint. This will water seal the absolute hell out of these boards. Hasn't been open for a long time, so I hope it's still good in there. Round and round and round we go. Surely there's an easier way to do this. Come on. Come on. If you're watching this and I get this open without pulling the pliers out, you have to subscribe to the channel. Couldn't care if you don't like it either. You have to subscribe. We almost got it. Hehe. Suckers. You know what that means? You're now going to subscribe to this channel even if you don't like it. There you go, Claire Bear. Paint away.
Oh, I'm out now. See ya. Already.
So you don't have to worry about it being like perfect even. It will even itself out, and just lay it on pretty thick. While the paint's over there drying, I've decided to do a couple little tidy up things. The first thing I've done is I've put a little grate sort of protector in there. So you can see I've just got a stainless steel. It is steel, but it'll be fine. It's not touching the bottom of the boat. I've got clearance there, so I'm not going to have to worry about it causing any issue with the bottom of the alloy of the boat. And I've just tacked it in there with a couple rivets on the bottom of the battery tray. And the other thing that I quickly did while I was waiting is I sorted out the hose here for the back bilge pump. Though, as I said earlier, I didn't really want to have that running all the way up around here, you know, where your seats are and stuff. It made no sense at all. I've just run it out the back of the boat. It's easier when you have somebody do it for you.
Do what?
The painting.
Slavery. Child slavery.
Yep, child labour. Should work. So this is the original board. It's already got all the original nooks cut out. I've got to do an extra one here for the power cables. I'm going to get this one cut and trimmed and do another test fit. And if everything's good, this will be the first piece of the floor that I can trace onto the new board that I have there. I've got the first board template set up how I like it. Now I'm going to go and transfer these markings onto the big board, and we'll cut the big board out. The front of the boat is wider than the back, so that's normal for that to go there because that's the back of the boat curving inwards. So to save material and get this done without wrecking the next line and the next cut, I have to make sure that this corner here, which is butting up against the front of the casting deck, and this line here, which is squared down, straight down for that latch to lift up, they need to be squared. Now what we're going to do is going to get that first dot in there, right where we want it, the first line. And again, right here, this is our textile line for up here.
Like a glove.
Whoops. Table's now got some battle marks. I forgot I had it so close and I was chopping inwards.
Bit of kept signature, no props.
That's what happens when I touch stuff. Okie doke, we've got it cut out. We've got these roughly chopped out. We've got this end done. It's the moment of the truth to see how much I stuffed up. Moment of the truth. Quick battery change and we're back in. Let's make sure that this is looking exactly how I needed it to look. So far, that is looking absolutely magnificent. The edging along here looks good. We've got enough room now to squeeze that carpet down, squeeze the carpet around all the bottoms of here. We've also got enough room up the front here for the carpet to be in between these boards. So, oh, wow, I've actually done a solid job at that. Oh, that feels so solid to walk on too. So we've gone from 12mm, which was the old floorboard, and it did feel a little bit squishy in places. Now I think that the squishiness may have been because it was old as well, but we've gone with the 17mm, and I did some calculations on the weight. So to cover the whole boat in 17mm instead of 12mm, it's only an 8.2 kilo increase. This is real good. Oh, I'm so happy with this. I've just transferred the marking for the hatch lid onto here. It is perfect, nice and square. And there you have it. I've got the hatch cut and sat in there. We've got enough for a centimetre gap there. And then when we cut the next board, or we actually don't even need to cut the next board, the next board should just sit in with a little bit of a trim up the end here where we've got this pole. So the other board should just go right in there. Hello, hello. You come to make me some lunch, have you?
No, I need food.
You need food?
Yeah.
Oh, I was hoping that you would make me food.
No, there's no food.
I'm pretty sure there's plenty of food.
There's no food I want.
Teenager problems. Okay, I'm going to get that cut made, and then I'm going to go and get some food, and she's not going to get any food. Ta-da! The floor is ready to have the pedestal areas traced in and chopped out. I didn't plan it, but this board here is 120 centimeters or 1,200 millimeters wide, right? This casting deck from here to that edge there is exactly the same, 1,200 millimeters. Couldn't have got any better. All I have to do is trace the edges. Gotta get down on my guts like a seal. Let's get this under there. Feel it with my hand. I'll be Mr. Squiggle. Is anyone old enough to know what that is? Uh-oh. Am I in the right spot? I think I am. It's gonna be real sort of rough, but I think I've done it. I think I've done it. We'll flip it over and we'll see how bad it looks. It's a bit difficult for you to see. We'll straighten up that line there, straighten up everything, and then we'll chop that one out. Let's do it. Boom. That's not the best thing you've ever seen. Then get the f off my video. If you like it, hit the like button. Okay, so this board here is in the place where it needs to be. This board, I've pushed it all the way over so I can trace the outside. Then I'm going to cut that little moon shape out. And when this board comes back, it's going to leave that centimetre gap where I've just made that cut. And that way we can still get the hatch opened and closed. That's good. See that glue squirting out? It gives you a good sign that we've got good contact. And pop this in there. I am very happy with that. So the cardboard template has been cut for the front casting deck, and I'm getting ready to chop it up into lots of different pieces. I've come up with a plan on how to get this in, and it's going to go in a few different pieces. So I've been drawing some lines along here. My thoughts is I'll have a hatch in the middle, and that's this line here, comes up and all the way across, then down again. So that's one section. Then I'll have a section on this side, which will be this whole area here. It will zigzag in here, then across, and then back again, and then up there. So it'll be a bit of a weird shape. Then we'll have a hatch in the middle, And then we'll have one hatch here, big rectangle one for the battery box. And then the other side is a little bit like this side, but obviously much smaller. So it just goes straight all the way up and then zigzags in up to there. There we go. See whether or not you can see those marking lines. So they are all in there, exactly the same as you see inside of the boat, measured down to the millimeter. This always happens to me. It's the next day and I really wanted to get this board cut out that we did the template on that you just seen. But as you can see outside, it is absolutely pouring down rain. It's been like this for the last 4 or 5 hours and it doesn't really look like it's going to let up. So what I've done instead is, so we can continue to progress on the build this weekend, I've gone out and I've grabbed myself, voila, some carpet. So yes, it's settled. I am definitely going carpet. I have bought it. So what I want to do first before I do any of the carpeting is I want to check out the underfloor flotation. So this boat's had the back seat ripped out, which means that it doesn't have any flotation for the back of the boat if it does take on a lot of water. Now granted, the back seat and the front seat, the styrofoam that's in within those, it does float, but it's probably not going to hold up the weight that is in this boat. So what I want to try to do is have underfloor flotation, not only to help the boat have a bit of flotation, but it fills those voids, it fills those cavities, and it pushes water above the floor. So if you have a catastrophic event where there's a lot of water in the boat, it means your bilge pumps, both of them, front and back, can work. They will be submerged, but you will have water on the top of the floor that you can bail out with the bucket, so you can reduce the amount of water quicker than if you had no underfloor flotation. And if the whole boat takes on water, you know, there is a little bit of a chance that it won't sink. I'm not too sure that it won't sink though, because by the time all this weight's in the boat, and with that 25 horsepower 4-stroke Honda in the back, she does weigh a fair bit. And then you throw on the batteries and electric trolling motor. Realistically, I think if it gets flooded, she's going down. Now, I have said to everybody that I wanted to try to make Beth a restoration build on the cheap. So what can we do on the budget? Like, Beth is an old boat. You don't want to go put in heaps and heaps of money into an old boat. I've seen a lot of people do it before. It's a waste of money. If you're going to put that type of money into an old boat, just buy a new boat as your platform to start with. So I don't want to do it on an old boat. So we've got the carpet, and for the underfloor flotation, I had this brilliant idea. Down in Australia, we call them boogie boards. They are made out of styrofoam. Now I've got 4 of them, which my kids don't use because these ones are busted and old, and I'm going to trial using these. So they are flat already. I can chop them up into squares. I can slip them underneath the floor. And these things, if you go down to your recovery yard or you look on, you know, Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that, you can get them really cheap, if not for free. Now, they're not good to use if you're buying them brand new from a store, because even the smallest, cheapest ones, they will still pop you like $15, $20 per one, and that's not cheap at all for flotation. But when you're talking about picking some of these up, like a whole handful of them for, you know, $5, that is cheap. And they don't absorb water. They're made out of the same polystyrene that is inside of your boat seats. I'm going to give that a bit of a go. I can chop them up into slabs and pop them under. Let's get into it. And I think that it'll work really well. If it does work really, really well, I'll go and pick up a couple really, really cheap ones for a couple bucks, and underfloor flotation will be done. Perfect. I don't want to put any up there because that's closer to where the fuel cell is going to be. And if there's any fuel leaking off over the side, I just don't want it washing back into the foam. If you get petrol on this stuff, it just eats it away and then it becomes a flammable, sticky paste. Great for if you want to throw at stuff and set on fire, but not great in your boat. All right. Other than this little bit here, I'm out. Let's find a little hidey hole for this one. Probably over in here somewhere, maybe over that back. It's found its last little hole. Looking pretty good. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do this before, but there's no way I'm the first. I'm not the first person to go, hey, let's put some, you know, surf bodyboards or anything like that underneath our boat. They are expensive if you were to buy them brand new, let's put it that way. But if you can get them cheap, if they're laying around, friends, family, garage sales, recovery, cycling centers, all that sort of stuff, Facebook Marketplace, pick them up cheap as, chop them up. They are really clean. So once you've chopped them, you rub them, they're not flaking anymore. It's actually really, really good. Well, there you have it. Everything is in there and looking absolutely perfect. 3 that you can see going up in the middle there, the big one, the small one, and the big one down the bottom, they're all hatch lids. The side ones are going to be fixed. We've got the centimetre gap in between each board, which will allow the 5mm clearance on each edge for the carpet to wrap around. I'm absolutely bloody stoked to how great that has come out. As far as hinges goes, well, I'm not going to run any hinges. Quite frankly, I don't like hinges on boats and storage areas where you might just want to lift up the top and sit it to the side. And it depends on which way you're facing. It depends on what you've got sitting around it or who's standing around it to where that hatch lid can go. So for me personally, the logic in my head says, don't put hinges on it, because all you're doing is forcing that hatch to be used in a particular way. You can never take it off. Everything is ready now to get carpeted up and put in. Just got to wait for a little bit more foam and we'll be good to go. So the end of the boat build is very, very close. And just remember that this is a fishing channel, so go and check out some of the fishing content that we have. If you like the boat build and maybe the fishing content as well, why not think about hitting that subscribe button and following us on all the adventures that we have in Australia.
And you thought I wasn't gonna do it. Oh, you couldn't have been more wrong.
Oh, what do we got? Carpet. So we've just gone with some standard marine carpet. This is the variant that you basically get at everywhere. It's got little tiny hoops, so it's not too bad. If you do drop a lure on there, you will get it back. It won't be stuck there forever. Not like this, where it has massive hoops. And if you drop a hook on that, you never get it back. So to do the gluing, I'm going to use this fast grip contact adhesive. It really stinks. It is water and heat resistant, so it's great for in your boats in the long times. And you just spread it around with a brush or a roller. That's all you do. Let's cut that line. It's great using an alloy angle because you're not going to cut your fingers. And where do we want it? About there. Look at that, didn't need the pliers to open it. That means you got to subscribe to the channel. I told you last time. And you stuck around watching. Can't be helped. It's your own damn fault. I apologise for the light, because I don't have the best lighting in this shed. I just breathed it in. Okay, time to flip it down. Claire's here to watch my failure. Don't laugh. Okay, down it goes. For sake. I did it on the wrong side.
Oh, you checked.
I did check. This is what happens when you try to do stuff with no sleep. Yeah, the dogs knew I did it the wrong side as well. Don't laugh at me. Stop laughing. Seat is in, sturdy, bolted in. Carpet is in after that mistake that we had. Glued it on the wrong side. But before I could put that in, I had to put in that front wall. Absolutely stoked with this. This seat has come out really, really well. It's very, very sturdy. I have sat on it and it's not even wobbly, not to the slightest. The seat might be sitting a little bit too high. I'm not entirely sure if I like it where it is, but the post that's in there, that can be pulled off and just chopped a little bit shorter. So that is a very quick and easy fix, but I won't worry about that till I get all the seats in. What I'm quickly going to do is get the next lot all sorted out. So I'm just going to rinse and repeat. It's just going to be chop it, slap some glue on it, wrap it, pull it tight, staple it on the backside, and then stick it in the boat. One thing that I have done with this front piece here, I've avoided wrapping the carpet all the way around, but I have stapled it all the way along the top. You can't really see the staples because once they're in there, they actually dive in pretty deep into the carpet. The carpet itself is fixed down with some screws. You can see there's a little screw right in there. They have been coloured in black, so they make it harder to see. I thought I'd give you a quick little sneak peek of what I am actually doing. I won't just cut you completely out, so you can see a lot of staples all the way along. It's glued on the face, and then we're just pulling as tight as we can and stapling. As you can see, I'm a professional carpenter, so these corners are exactly how you're meant to do them. I am a professional. Just remember, don't believe everything you see or hear on the internet. It's coming along really, really well. Just got the last bit to do there. As you can see on the other side, Looks real nice, nicely wrapped, nice and tight, nice and smooth. Things are progressing well, and I have actually done the entire casting deck, but I'm not going to show you that just right now. You're going to have to wait to stick around for a little bit longer to see that, because I want to have a bit of a surprise for that one. I want to do a full review of the boat. So I need to now get the rest of the polystyrene put in. I have gone down to the local recovery yard and picked up some more of these. They cost me $1 each. Again, so cheap, and it's going to achieve exactly what I need for underfloor flotation. This could be the last cut. Last few cuts. Pretty easy to work with this stuff, and it's not too messy, as you can see. Not too messy at all. I'm just using a saw, like a little wood blade on it. And there you have it. There's some cheap insurance. Next step I'm doing is I'm putting in this long fuel hose. Originally in this boat, when I first purchased it, this hose was used to put the fuel tank right up the front, which I'm not swinging you around because I'm not showing you what the front looks like. It's a secret. But, so I'm going to have 2 spots for the fuel tanks. I'm going to have one there, which will have a short hose, and then we have the real big long one, which is going to allow the fuel tank to go up the front. So that allows me to have the fuel tank at either end for load balancing. So it depends on how much load I've got in the boat, how many people, etc, etc. If I'm using the really big fuel tank, the old one, which is sitting just over there, if that's fully fueled, it might be too heavy and too awkward to have in the back corner of the boat. It might make the boat lean a little bit this way. So it's best to have it up the front in the dead center where it keeps everything nice and flat. So I'm about to get this fuel hose, and I'm just going to run it all the way through the polystyrene up to the front before I put that final board down. Check that out, just a little bit to tidy up on the edge, but let's get that seat in. Let's get this in. I need to do some drilling. We'll have some sucky. Alright, it's time for the final reveal. I am done with the decking, and I've got some hatches in there, I've got some carpet in there, I've got some seats in there. Everything is perfect. Let me show you. So the final result, everyone, is looking absolutely great. I am really stoked with this. It is so sturdy. Everything has fit nicely. It's come along exactly how I envisioned. So just to give you a little bit of an overrun of what we got, as you know, there's a big hatch here. We've just got some soft tabs here. I didn't go with latches because I figured it's going to be a riverboat and I didn't want the latches to be full of mud and stuff like that to have to clean it out. These are just so much easier to maintain. So we've lifted up, and there we are, just one big board. So then we have the ultimate battery box, as everybody's seen. Nice and easy access. Under here, what I've done to stop this board from falling off flat, I found that if I was on there and I sort of stood real fast this way, it would sort of shift a little bit. I've just put in some alloy angle up here, and this lines up perfectly with that bracket there, and it's nice and smooth. You won't get cut on or anything like that. Absolutely beautiful. Can't wait to get it dirty. I've got this big fishnet that I need to put somewhere, and I thought a really good ideal place might be in this back corner. So it's still reachable, but it's also out of the way of most of your casts and your fishing, and I don't have to lay it down flat anywhere. So other options it does actually fit up on the front of the boat. You can have the trolley motor up there, but you can still put this up there and it fits quite snug. What I've done is I've chopped off the bottom of this old fishing rod holder that originally was in there. And my idea is, if you look straight down in there, I might be able to have this so the fishing rod holder will fit straight in there. The fishing net is in. So I ended up just chopping the base of that off nicely. Then the fishing net sits all the way down. Generally, it'd probably sit all the way into there. Nice and snug, not going anywhere. I'm not happy with the seating position of the height. So I've stuck in the old seat just to give you an idea of how high the old seat was. And I reckon the old seat was perfect. A new one, it just feels a little bit too high. Like I feel like I'm too high up and I'm not in the boat. I feel like I'm sitting on top of the boat. Here we go. So I should be able to just pull this up and out. Nice and easy. Now we should be able to just undo this. There we go. Take that out. We chop the top of that. Clamps down. Let's give it a bell. Put the cap back on. Feed it back into here. Tighten it up. Plug it back in. That looks good. Sweet. So I'm going to be using some of this board that I had before. It is a little bit warped, but there are some straight and flat areas. So I'm going to try to see if I can reuse that board. But if it's no good, these will serve as good templates just to sort of rough everything out because I'm sort of freehanding everything here. Looks really good on that side. And clean them up if they're good to use. All right, so idea, putting that in front of that. Not too wonky donkey. All right, there we have some rough cuts of those walls. Still not convinced I'm going to use these bits of wood or not. They are slightly a little bit warped because they've been in the weather with no protection. However, that looks pretty good. Those templates are pretty much spot on, exactly where I need them. Okay, so here's a bit of a progress update for the side console. I have used the alloy angle skeleton and I've put a few side walls and the top wall, and I've just put in a new centered wall here. I'm trying to plan to have tackle trays all in there. That's coming along really, really well. And over here, just behind me, I've got the rear shelf that I'm going to put in. I'm going to paint this and the side console at the same time, and then we'll carpet them up, pop them in, wire up the electricals, and that's it. Boat's done. We do have this big black side wall here, so I've got to think about what decals I could put on the side there. Coming together quite nicely, this side console here, electrical area here. This is just going to be an open shelf. Still need to trim a little bit off the top here because I am having it quite close to the driver's seat. So the seat, when it swivels, does nip this a little bit here. So we're almost done. We've just got one last thing to do before we can paint it, and that's design our little door here. And if all goes to plan, maybe, just maybe, I'll be on the water tomorrow with the boat. Let's see if we can get this one into action today. This jigsaw is the worst. I need to replace it. The bolts in here are stripped, so it can't even tighten up properly. It's not very safe. Not very safe at all. This was the recycled wood from the last boat flooring, I think it was. Yeah, the last boat floor, all recycled wood. What I'm trying to achieve here is just a nice, thick, single coat. I'm not coming back. All right, well, I'll continue this and I'll bring you back in once I'm done. Just ran down to Bunnings and grabbed some marine grade stainless steel bolts just for the seat. Also went over and grabbed another fuel line and a fuel fitting for the tank. It's the test. It's good to sit on. Yep. Imagine being the passenger, just sitting here, probably smashing it to the best fishing spot that there is. Still waiting for the paint to dry, so I've got to get on the fuel line, and then that should be enough time for that paint to be, yeah, pretty dry, and then I'll spray paint parts of it black, we'll carpet it, and throw it in. Hopefully I bought the right one. Looks alright. Also said it was premium. I really don't know what was that premium about it. It was $2 more than the non-premium one, so it can't really be that premium.
It disappeared. It's magical. Husband! Did you hear us come out?
No, I was wiping petrol up off the floor. So we've got our slimline fuel tank that's going to sit right up the back, and we've got our hose fitting which will fit on there nicely now. Clickety clickety clack. Take you for a walk. Let's go and sit this in the back. I put this little rail in there. Rightio, so I'm going to go and find a clamp and I'll bang that in there. Let's go and check out the painting. Here it is. Looks really shiny. Pretty sure it's dry. Certainly touch dry. You know what that means. Time to put on some black spray paint. Gonna finish up the painting, then we'll get back to that fuel line. We'll mix and match what we're doing today to try to get everything done. I really want this boat done and ready for the water, and if I can, take it out tomorrow. Fuel tank is in there nice and proper. We've got a rail at the front to stop it from sliding forward. And we've also got a rail at the back to stop it from sliding backwards. I'm absolutely loving this build. Sometimes I complain that it's taking too long, but let's face it, these type of things, they do take a long time. If you're trying to make sure that every little thing that you want in there is perfect, it's going to take you a little bit of time. If you are just wanting a quick floor and you just slap it in on a weekend, that's great. But if you want to take the effort and go that extra mile, like I'm trying to, but on a budget, this is what I'm coming up with. Another little tidbit that I haven't shown you is I've used a little bit of the leftover of the angled iron from this tray up here to put down there, and the idea of that is it's a kick panel, so then if you have longer swim bait rods that come up further across the top here, they generally won't come much further than here. That's like your 8-foot marker right there, so I don't think I'm going to have any rods bigger than that. Let's just save the tips just in case they get in here. We'll save those tips. Got the low ramps in prime position for where I'd like it to be for when you're sitting down. It used to be over there, which makes no sense because you're constantly looking side and forth. Really hated it, so this is where it's going to go, but I don't want it to be fixed here in a sense that I have to have screws in here. I don't want that. This bracket here, I 3D printed that because I only had one for in the kayak and I didn't want to spend 30 bucks for another bracket, so I just 3D printed myself another one. So what I need to do here is I need to come up with something to allow this to pivot, because I want it to be able to pivot and face that way or that way. So I need something here, and I'm thinking a single point in the middle. Let's see what scraps I got laying around and see what I can come up with to make that pivot in that spot. What do we got? Ooh. One of these would work really, really well. Ooh, ooh. Yes, got a couple of these. Yes, that'll work really, really well. Top through the wood. How do I stop it from falling down? Maybe a bracket of some sort. Maybe I chop that off there, weld that on there, and then I can pin that with some screws underneath. Let's get that sorted out. All right, that's all sorted out. Yes, look at that. Now it doesn't have to be too tight, and you can turn it. Good job. Sounder is in. There we have it. I figured I should probably check that the battery monitor for these are working still after it's been wired up and shoved all the way down there. 24-volt system, so what you do is you put both of your batteries in series. When you go in series, you connect your negative on one battery to the positive on the other battery. So you double your voltage, but your ampage stay the same. Perfect. Voltages 26.7. Now because they are lithium batteries, the voltages won't be 24, they'll be a lot higher. Okay. What that means is those batteries are working perfectly. I'm going to quickly get the rest of these soldering done. So I'm going to do the bilge pump, and then I'm going to do the other bilge pump. Then I'll come back when the lights are in and everything's done. It's done. Check it out, everyone. We've got tackle tray holders over here. We can put another two in there. I intend on getting a full little box to go in there for all your loose ends. This is a little shelf, mobile phones and battery charging for GoPros and stuff. Up here, do whatever you want. A swivel that you see me make there. Everything in here is good. I reused the panel, so the stickers aren't lining up with what they actually do just yet. And we've got the battery box down the bottom. This is an overkill battery for all of this, 50 amp hour. Not needed, but it's the one I use for my kayak for the trolling motor. Let's plug her in. It slides in there, and we've got some spare fuses to tuck in there as well. I put in one of those little door clips there. It's usually for like your wardrobe doors and stuff. So that works really, really well. All right, so bilge pumps. That's the back one. That's the front one. Lights for the interior. Can't see that much, but we've got a light there, and in the cubby holes, there's a light inside of this hole. Probably can't see, it's too blinding out there. Light it up front, light all behind. They're the front lights, and that's for the sounder. That's awesome. Clearance on the seat. When you're sitting here, your feet go straight in front, not in the way, but check this out. Look at that. It's come out real nice. Next up, rod holders. Fish on! Fish on! Oh shit!
extinguisher. Quick update time. Rod holders are all on. I fixed up the front area here, so there were some holes left over from the previous owner. They were mounting different things, I guess. So what I've done is I've filled them up with rivets, and I've siliconed inside of these rivets because they're not closed rivets, they're open. Everything is looking absolutely schmick. I've got some carpet on the back corners there, just to help with getting in and out of the boat if you're coming in from the backside, just something so you don't slip on. Everything on the inside of the boat is done, and I think there's just one thing missing from the side right about here. Well, there we have it. The boat is done. I'm tripping over shit in the fucking river. There we have it, everyone. The boat is absolutely 100% complete. 2 rods down under. Check it out. Let me know if you would have done anything different with this boat build, because this is the end of the boat build. Thanks to all you legends that kept watching these YouTube series of the rebuild. I really didn't know what I was doing, but we got there in the end. It is absolutely fantastic. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more fishing content. And until next time, see you later, fella. Film me an outro.
What?
Film me an outro. Come on.
Subscribe! Don't do that.
Yeah, we'll do that.